Hey friends, if you've seen these videos before, then you know that I often spend some time sitting in front of the piano here. It's just an easy place to film a video. But if you've seen me sitting at the piano before, then you know that behind me I often have things on top of the piano. And the reason I have those particular things on top of the piano, the airplane and the clock and the picture frame and the statue of Jesus washing the disciples' feet, is because those are things that are meaningful to me. Things that have been given to me by someone else that I care about, gifts that were meaningful, or just things that help me remember good things that I don't want to forget. And so I put them in a high and prominent place, in a place where I will walk by very, very often, because they're meaningful to me. Well, at the end of Deuteronomy chapter 26, God said that he was going to do the same thing with something that was meaningful to him. In yesterday's video, we talked about how God made a declaration that the Israelites were always going to be his people. They were always going to be his treasured possession. But then he made another declaration where he said what he was going to do with his treasured possession. He said, I'm going to put you in a high and lofty place so that all the other nations know that you are my people and I am your God. So that all the other nations will know that God himself is with them. He was going to elevate them to a prominent place above all the other nations, which of course, he ended up doing as they went into the promised land, and they were able to defeat all the enemies that were there waiting for them, trying to prevent them from taking the promised land. And God did elevate them to a place where all the other nations saw and came to the conclusion that, wow, God really is with them. He elevated them, in a sense, to a high and lofty place so that everybody could see this special place that God had for them in their hearts. It reminds me of something that Jesus said in the New Testament, where he said that one day God is going to do the same thing with you. He said, everyone who acknowledges me before other people, I am also going to acknowledge before my Father in heaven. Another way to look at it is the day is coming when Jesus is going to elevate you above everything else in this world. And he is going to acknowledge you in front of the whole world. And acknowledge you as being one thing in particular, and something that's also mentioned at the end of Deuteronomy chapter 26. Where on the day that God is going to declare, where he declared that, well, these are my people and I'm putting them in a high and lofty place. He was also declaring that these are my holy people, a people holy to the Lord. And you know what holy means. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. And that's what Jesus will declare about you in front of the whole world one day. On the day that Jesus returns to take us home. You know, the home that our hearts long for every day. The better place that we know just doesn't exist here on this earth. He will acknowledge you as somebody who also is holy to the Lord our God. Because that's what he made you to be when he forgave you of everything that you could ever hold against yourself or that God could ever hold against you. He will declare you to be perfect in every way. But while the day is still coming in the future when he will do that in front of the whole world so that the whole world can see that that's how God sees you. It's not like that's the first day he's going to see you that way. That's exactly how he sees you today. If you are forgiven, and you are, then right now at this very moment, God holds nothing against you. He sees you as perfect. He sees you as holy. He sees you as someone who belongs in God's own family. And if that's how God looks at you today, I don't think that gives us the right to look at ourselves any differently. In Christ Jesus, you have the right to look at yourself the same way. Holy, perfect, pure, in every way, for eternity. Rest well tonight in that, my friends.